Okay guys, next step in all of this, here, standing in the middle of my yard, what's all around me, falling leaves. Okay, well, obviously it's fall right now, it's October, kind of a brisk day, but you have leaves. Leaves are dry, you can utilize them for your fire as well. Okay, again, crushing it up, creating more surface area that will take an initial spark. They will ignite. Okay, and again, if you need to utilize other items with them, then so be it. Okay guys, back to the cattails again. Every season, obviously, the cattails will regrow. Okay, but from the season before, you will have all the dry stuff. All the dry stuff from last year, or from this season as well. Takes a spark very well. Great for creating your bird's nest. Right? Same with the stalks. Don't mind me turning my back on you guys, but got to do that. Helps for you to build your tinder bundles for stalks, holding everything together as you are applying different things, such as the head of your cactus. See, in here, like I was saying before, there's all that fluff. So if you leave this intact and just put it in your old fire because you're moving camps, this will just smolder as long as that's intact. However, if you're starting a new fire, all you gotta do is just run the edge of your blade along this thing and it just blows apart. See? And it's this stuff, the down, is extremely flammable. It's like taking it to a cotton ball, although you get it on everything. Another good thing with this stuff, it's a good insulator too. If you get cold feet, stuff a bunch of this in your boots. It'll keep you warm. It's kind of like almost like a down or a Thinsulate. It's a more modern product. Same thing. You know, just another little thing you can use it for. Although, like I say, it likes to get everywhere. Alright guys, here we're looking at a blowdown of a pine tree. Okay. Blowdowns, or trees that have been struck by lightning, kind of split in half due to weather. Typically, the root system is the heart of the tree. So even though the tree may have snapped off somewhere along the top and the whole thing appears dead, after a while, yes, the root system will die. However, a pine tree's natural protection is its sap, right? So it'll start pumping sap out like crazy, both trying to heal itself where the break-off point was and trying to do new regrowth. In a lot of cases, that's not what happens. So what ends up becoming a benefit to us is these blowdowns like this, or the little stumps that initially the root system is pumping and pumping and pumping all the sap into itself. It's got nowhere to go, so you end up with what is known as greasewood. Right? You break into some pieces of this, of a blowdown, or of an old cut down, or just the stump was left, and you get into that. I'll guarantee you there'll be some good greasewood in there. The benefit of greasewood is when you break off pieces of that, you take the edge of your blade and make shaving dust. Okay, just basically you're making a sawdust. That stuff will take with a spark in a blink of an eye. Again, because it's pine pitch, it's like gasoline, but also because it has the wood base inside it, because basically you've created that sawdust, it's going to burn just a little bit longer. Okay. If you notice right beside this fall down, a little cedar tree here, and it's got a lot of bark. There's just loose bark hanging there. Again, like I showed you before, it's a great tinder. You just peel that off, wrinkle it up a bit just to create some more fiber, loose fibers with it, and you're good to go. Alright guys, here again, cut off branches. Right? A lot of guys who are hunters and are cutting shooting lanes or whatnot will cut off branches. And usually there's a tag end left or whatever. Again, the tree is going to try and produce sap to protect this branch. The branch itself is going to die. But this branch itself is just getting piled in with resin. After a while, the thing, it'll just dry up, and again, you get a piece of deadwood, much like these, right? It's all deadwood. A lot of times it'll have a lot of resin in it, especially closer to the tree itself. You cut these off or break them off, again, using the edge of your blade, you know, you just making sawdust, right? That's all you need to do, just make the sawdust and add that to your tinder bundle. It'll help create the surface area that you need to catch the initial sparks. And hopefully there's enough, more than enough resin in there to really get it going. Alright guys, we're standing back in my yard here again. I wanted to show you some birch bark, but I'd have to actually go into my bush to do that. I do have birch on property. For those of you who are aware, know that birch bark is an amazing fire source. You can ignite it with your fire steels. Okay? You can use it to help boost your initial fire starting, or using it for a multitude of other things. Birch bark is not just the end-all be-all for fire making. It can also be used in basket making. It can be used in making sheaths or making boxes. It can be used for a multitude of things. But yes, birch bark is a fantastic fire source. You just scrape the bark with your knife. You know, as you cut out a big square patch of it, scrape it with your knife, creating again loose fibers. Hit it with a fire steel, and you're golden. That thing will take off like crazy. And then you start putting on your tinder, and then your fuel as your fire builds. Okay? So that was one of the sources. A lot of the stuff I've shown you is just the bare minimum basics. There are other things that you can utilize. There's millet, there's other grasses, there's other things that you can use. Key thing being, has to be dry, right? As you get your fire going, obviously your dead tinder within the bush itself, preferably stuff that's on the branches, or sorry, the dead branches on trees, is your next step. If it's been dry for a few days, you are able to go into the bush and you can, bust up blowdowns and whatnot that have been seasoned for at least a year or so. Actually, probably been in there for quite a few years, actually, in most cases. You break them up and away you go. So you got your fire going. So what I just shown you is just a just lightly touched on things that are available for you to utilize for your initial fire source. Okay, for initially getting your fire going. Things that'll take the spark with the ferrocerium rod. Things that'll take a coal from a bow drill. If you have a lighter in your pocket, you're further ahead, obviously, but those things are subject to failure. They get wet. It's going to take you a while to dry them out. You might not have that time. Okay, so knowing how to utilize your environment and the resources in the environment and the tools on your person is paramount. Okay, so on the next segment, we'll take some of these items that we've located. We'll go into my little spot, and we'll see what takes with a ferrocerium rod, by itself, what doesn't, and then what combinations of materials works best. Okay, and we'll see how that pans out. Again, this whole thing is a learning process for all of us, and I want your feedback on these. I want your input on this, especially the guys that have the knowledge behind them as well. I want you to come on board with me, and if you have something that you can include, by all means share it with us. I'm more than willing to add videos within my channel supporting various projects that we'll be doing. Okay, so for the guys that are out there that have done this for a while, please step forward, please comment on things. For those of you that are watching and want to learn more or have something in your mind that you want to see done, by all means send me an email and we'll see if we can incorporate that somehow, some way, you know, variations of whatever it is you have in your mind. That's what we're all about. We're all about learning together. So, till segment 2, the day you stop learning, the day you're dead.